Section 28 of The Wit and Humor of America, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Dennis Smith. Mr. Dooley on Reform Candidates by Finley Peter Dunne. "That friend of yours, Dugan, is an intelligent man," said Mr. Dooley. "All he needs is an index and a few illustrations to make him a bicyclopedia of useless information." "Well," said Mr. Hennessy, judiciously, "he ain't no Socrates, and he ain't no answers to questions column, but he's a good man that goes to his duty, and as handy with a pick as some people are with a cocktail spoon. What's he been doin' again ye?" "Nothin'," said Mr. Dooley, "but he was in here Tuesday. 'Did you vote?' says I. 'I did,' says he. 'Which one of the distinguished bunco steerers got your invaluable suffrage?' says I. 'I didn't have none with me,' says he, 'but I voted for Charter H,' says he. 'I've been with him 6 elections,' says he, 'and he's a good man,' he says. 'Do you think you voted for the best?' says I. 'Why, man alive,' I says, 'Charter H was assassinated 3 years ago,' I says. 'Was he?' says Dugan. 'Oh, well, he's lived that down by this time. He was a good man,' he says. You see, that's what them reform lads want up again. If I liked reformers, Hennessy, and wanted for to see them win out onct in their lifetime, I'd buy them each a suit of chilled steel, arm them with repeating rifles, and take them east of State Street and south of Jackson Boulevard. At present, the opinion that prevails in the ranks of the glorious army of reform is that there ain't anything worth seeing in this large and commodious desert but the pest house in the Bridewell. Me friend William J. O'Brien is no reformer, but William J. understands that there's a few hundreds of thousands of people living in a part of the town that looks like nothing but smoke from the roof of the Onion League Club, that have only 2 pleasures in life, to work and to vote, both of which they do at the uniform rate of $1.50 a day. That's why William J. O'Brien is now a senator and will be an alderman after next Thursday, and it's why other people are sending him flowers. This is the way a reform candidate is elected. The boys downtown has heerd things that ain't goin' right, somehow. Franchises is bein' handed out to none of them, and once in a while a member of the club, comin' home a little late and tryin' to reconcile a pair of round feet with an embroidered sidewalk, meets a strong-arm boy that pushes in his face and takes away all his marbles. It begins to be talked that the time has come for good citizens for to brace up and do something, and they agree to nominate a candidate for alderman. 'Who'll be put up?' says they. 'How's Clarence Doolittle?' says one. 'He's laid up with a coupon thumb and can't run.' 'And how about Arthur Doheny?' 'I swore an oath when I came out of college that I'd never vote for a man who wore a made tie.' 'Well, then, let's try Willie Boy.' 'Good,' says the committee. 'He's just the man for our money.' And Willie Boy, after thinking it over, goes to his tailor and orders 3 dozen pairs of pants, and decides for to be the standard bearer of the people. Musin' over his fried eysters and asparagus and his champagne, he bets a polo pony again a box of golf balls he'll be elected unanimous, and all the good citizens make a vow for to set the alarm clock for 3:30 on the afternoon of election day, so's to be up in time to vote for the representative of pure government. 'Tis some time before they comprehend that there are other candidates in the field. But the other candidates know it. The strongest of them, his name is Flanagan, and he's a retail dealer in wines and liquors, and he lives over his establishment. Flanagan was nominated enthusiastically at a primary held in his barn, and before Willie Boy had picked out pants that would match the color of the Australian ballot, this here Flanagan had put a man on the day watch, told him to speak gently to any registered voter that wanted to sleep behind the stove, and was out that night visiting his friends. Who was it judged the cakewalk? Flanagan. Who was it carried the pall? Flanagan. Who was it stood up at the christening? Flanagan. Whose cards did the grieving widow, the blushing bridegroom, or the happy father find in the hack? Flanagan's. You bet your life. You see, Flanagan wasn't out for the good of the community. Flanagan was out for Flanagan and the stuff. Well, election day come around, and all the eminent friends of good government had special wires strung into the club, and waited for the returns. The first precinct showed 28 votes for Willie Boy to 14 for Flanagan. "That's my precinct," says Willie. "I wonder who voted them 14. "Coachman," says Clarence Doolittle. "There are 35 precincts in this ward," says the leader of the reform iliment. "At this rate I'm sure of 440 majority. Gosson," he says, "put a keg of sherry wine on the ice," he says. "Well," he says, "at last the community is relieved from misrule," he says. "Tomorrow I will start in arrangin' amendments to the tariff schedule and the arbitration threaty," he says. "We must be up and doin'," he says. "Hol' on there," says one of the comity. "There must be some mistake in this from the 6th precinct," he says. "Where's the 6th precinct?" says Clarence. "Over by the dumps," says Willie. "I told me footman to see to that. He lives at the corner of Des Plaines and Blue Island Avenue on Goose Island," he says. "What does it show? Flanagan 385, Hanson 48, Schwartz 20, O'Malley 17, Casey 10, O'Day 8, Larson 5, O'Rourke 3, Mulcahy 2, Schmidt 2, Maloney 2, Reardon 2, O'Malley 2, Willie Boy 1. "Gentlemen," says Willie Boy, arisin' with a stern look in his eyes, "the rascal has betrayed me. Waiter, take the sherry wine off the ice. There's no hope for sound financial legislation this year. I'm goin' home." And as he goes down the street, he hears a band play and sees a procession headed by a calcium light, and in a carriage, with his plug hat in his hand, and his diamond making the calcium look like a piece of punk in a smokehouse, is Flanagan, paying his first visit this side of the tracks. End of section 28. Mr. Dooley on Reform Candidates by Finley Peter Dunne. Read by Dennis Smith.